Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness here on YouTube and Streamer.com. It is good little Meth Michael Fletcher alongside my good buddy Anthony Florio. Guys, we are just going to dive right on in. You know how we started. We traditionally started with NXT 2.0, then to be followed by AEW Dynamite. And oh boy, do we have a lot to say about Dynamite, especially here tonight. So, with that said, we start out with the NXT report and NXT going down last night. Of course, as always, from the CWC, the Capital Wrestling Center. And with that said, we do start it off with the first match of the night, which was Nikita Lyons going one-on-one with Kiana James. And it was Nikita Lyons winning the match in 4 minutes and 10 seconds. It was an all right opener. It was a good showcase for Nikita. Kiana James actually did pretty well. Very well done. Good matchup. Enjoyable. It was a fun match for what it was worth. So at the end, I thought they did I thought it was very well done. So it's about a fun little sprint, about maybe 2 stars. So Anthony, I give it to you.
Yeah, right there with you, MF. 2 stars. It was a fine but forgettable match. It certainly should not have opened over more interesting contests, especially with the finish. Lyons versus James is apparently not over, even though no one believes the latter can ever win. Lyons is a likely #1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship sooner rather than later. This feud does nothing but keep her on TV. She could use a rival who can help her improve. I'm going to give it 2 stars for the effort. So, not much more to say. So, MF, we move on to a very unique matchup on the fight card next.
Yeah, this was Wesley going up against Trick Williams in a rounds match. This was a NXT Heritage Rules match. So here's how it plays out. It's 6 3-minute rounds, and basically, if you get a pinfall, a submission, or a count out, you win that particular round. And if you get 2 rounds out of the 6, the fight is over. You win the match. Now, a disqualification could occur at any time, and you get basically it ends the round. You don't lose the fight, but you lose the round. So it's a little bit like boxing, a little bit like MMA, but the winner of the bout in 5 rounds. No, it actually went the full 6, but it was ended 2 fulls to 1. Wesley wins the match. Now, I don't have an official time of the fall, but I do know that they did win it in 6 rounds, and Wesley won it all. So, Anthony, it's yours.
So we're probably looking at about 16, 17 minutes worth of match here.
Yeah, because you got to think about it this way. You're thinking 3 3-minute rounds, 5 3-minute rounds, and then I think it was like a minute or something into the 6th and final round where the fight ended. So you're talking about 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I'm probably saying somewhere around 16 minutes.
Yeah. I'm going to say this was the second best fight of the night here. I thought there was one that was a little better, to be honest with you. And while this stipulation may be a hard sell for some due to the many rules, this worked really well. Each round told a unique story going back and forth from boxing to wrestling. It is a shame that one round was lost during the picture-in-picture break. In the end, Lee got a big win and welcomed revenge against his rival. Carmelo Hayes watched everything from ringside, even getting involved, so there's a future title match ahead between those two. Both men worked the first round like a boxing match, and Lee had his opponent trapped on the ropes as time expired. In the second round, Melo grabbed Lee's leg to set up a trick boot for the first fall. Lee got a fall in the 4th round with a crucifix pin, and then Trick responded by cheap-shotting his opponent with a right hand between rounds. And afterward, the A champion bragged about beating Nathan Frazier, Enter Giovanni Vinci. to interrupt to challenge the North American champion. And we're going to get Vinci versus Mello for the North American Championship Tuesday night on Heatwave. Get ready. Get ready for a show stealer right there, folks. So for this is a very tricky match to rate, but I'm gonna do the best I can with it. I'm gonna give it about 3 to 3.25 stars for the effort. Second best fight of the night. I thought there was one match that was better. Very unique match to say the very least. So not much more to say. MF, we don't have much to catch Bullock up on, so
No.
let's get him on in.
All right, Mike Bullock, come on in, front and center. We did talk about Nikita Lyons and Katina James.
I mean,
Uh,
Kiana.
Tiana James. So, yeah, and she won. Nikita Lyons won the match in 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, I'll give it about maybe 1.5 for the effort here, but obviously after the match, Kiana James literally nailed Nikita Lyons with whatever is in that bag of hers. So obviously after that, I mean, I think this feud is far from over between these two. So we'll wait and see how it goes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then the other one, well, we just talked about it. You were right in the middle of it, and that was Trick Williams versus Wesley, and Wesley won it in the 6th round by pinfall.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty unique match here. I mean, it's tricky for me to rate this one, but I'm going to go with Florio's rating. I'm going to give it 3.25 stars. I mean, yeah, I think this was definitely a nice win here for Wes Lee, and he really needs it. And obviously, I mean, somewhere down the line, I think Wes Lee will get a shot at the North American title. But like you said, after the match, Carmelo Hayes bragged about what he did with Nathan Frazier, and lo and behold, Giovanni Vinci shows up, and yeah, we're getting the match next week on Tuesday night on Heatwave. Vinci against Hayes for the NXT North American Championship. So that could be a really good match. So we'll wait and see how that goes. So there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours. I mean, very unique match to say the very least.
It's basically a fight that is right up my alley. You know, I love the boxing aspect and I really enjoy it. I love the MMA aspect. I think that was really good. The rounds is a little bit of a unique. I've never seen that before, but it was fine for what it was worth. So I thought they did a really good job with it. Solid match, nothing more to say. And yeah, I'll give it about 3 stars. Next up we had was Thea Hale versus Ariana Grace. Ariana Grace wins the match in 3 minutes and 49 seconds. But Michael Bullock, you got to give it up. I mean, it's basically Ariana Grace, the daughter of Santino Marella. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think she looked good here. I mean, yeah, I mean, in the short amount of time that it was for this match. So who knows? Maybe there could be something in the future for her. But like I said, we'll wait and see how it goes. But for me, I can only give it 1 star. So it's yours, Fletch.
I thought Thea looked really good. I thought Ariana looked a little nervous. Maybe it was a little bit too big for her. I don't know. I will say this. She is definitely green. She got a lot of work ahead of her. I thought she did fine for what it was worth, but my goodness, she's got some work to do more than anything else. But yeah, it was fine. It was all right. 1 star, fair. Florio, go.
1.5, yeah. Um, it makes sense to not give Hale anything right away. She's young and can learn through losses. This will also help establish some of NXT's less built talent, such as Ariana Grace. These two had a simple match that showed why both are still in development. It was ugly at times, but the closing stretch was decent. It was the rare 3-minute match that was as long as it needed to be. And And that's really all there is to it. So 1.5, move on.
Then we had Apollo Crews versus Roderick Strong. Apollo Crews wins the match in 11 minutes and 55 seconds. You could easily say this is one of the best fights of the night. This was an excellent match. This was great body of work, great action all the way around. For me, I thought they did a really good job with this one. So this was easily 3.5 stars. Solid match. Anthony, go.
This to me was the fight of the night. 3.5 stars. Strong versus Cruz could have been built more before it happened, but the two men fought like seasoned veterans as expected. It was a good old-fashioned fight that was more reminiscent of the previous black and gold brand. With more build, it could have been truly special. But it was nice to see a complete physical battle. Both men have endurance to spare, and they could impress in a rematch. And this came about as the Creed brothers went over tape with Apollo Crews until Roddy appeared, and then Roddy challenged Crews for trying to influence Diamond Mine, and Crews struggled to get the finish despite getting close throughout. Strong kneed Crews on the ropes and then caught him on the apron with a sidewalk slam. And afterward, Julius Creed saw something on tape that upset him before Roddy arrived, complaining about Diamond Mine not joining him in his match. But Grayson Waller warned Crews later that he was not welcome in 2.0. So it looks like we have Apollo's next opponent. It could be Grayson Waller. And that's got potential to be a very good match down the road when it happens. So 3.5 stars. This to me was the fight of the night based on the body of work. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, the feel of an old school NXT match, despite it being a 2.0 match.
Yeah, this did have the feeling of an old school NXT match, even though this is 2.0, but this was a good match for what it was, and for me, it was the fight of the night. 3.5 stars, and like you said, this all started because Apollo Crews was with the Creed brothers, and the other member of Diamond Mine, basically going through some tape, and then Roderick Strong shows up and said Crews is not welcome, and that's when he challenged him to the match. And like you said, afterwards, Roderick Strong was wondering where the hell the rest of the Diamond Mine were at ringside, and obviously during that video they saw something they didn't like. So I think the seeds are still being planted for a potential Diamond Mine breakup. Obviously, I think the Creed brothers and Kemp are going to be like so sick and tired of Roderick Strong's bullying around the group and not being the true leader that he's supposed to be. So yeah, so we'll wait and see how that all plays out. But I think there's going to be a Diamond Mine breakup eventually. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
All right. With that said, we move on. There was a cinematic sit down between Santos Escobar and Tony D'Angelo. One final accord is what they called it, and that was all right. I mean, this is going to be interesting, but I don't mind it that it went down that way. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Then we had what ended up being, well, actually, all right. The what they call the penultimate fight of the evening, and it was Pretty Deadly versus Idris Analfi and Malik Blade, and Pretty Deadly wins the match in 4 minutes and 37 seconds. So, who leads off here? Florio? Yeah, it is you.
So,
What was that time again?
4:37.
Yeah. All right. Idris Anafi and Malik Blade were working with limited time here, but this was a fun little sprint. These teams could do something special with more time. Maybe down the lines, they'll be fighting with gold on the line. Lash Legend looks like she's joining Pretty Deadly to even the odds against the NXT UK Tag Team Champions and Fallon Henley. Makes sense. However, she comes off as an awkward character to pair with Prince and Wilson, who are more naturally charismatic. And this came about after another segment, another backstage moment. Lash Legend was running her mouth to Malik Blade, to excuse her loss to Alba Fire by blaming anyone else. Anafi arrived and told her to shut up, and then Pretty Deadly stood up for Legend. And Pretty Deadly enjoyed taunting Briggs and Jensen at ringside, which sent the UK tag champs out to confront them. Anafi with the big diving elbow on Wilson, and then Blade took out Prince with a dive to the outside and nearly set them up to win. So I'll give it 2.5 stars for the effort. Fun little sprint. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, looks like we've got a possible 6th person on the way. Pretty Deadly and Lash Legend against Briggs, Jensen, and Henley.
Yeah, I think we could definitely see that happening somewhere down the line. So, yeah, 2.5 for the effort here. It was a fun little sprint, and so there's really nothing more to say. So it's yours, Fletch.
Fine for what it was worth. Nothing too crazy. So that leads us to the main event of the evening. Yes, this was the highly anticipated one. Cora Jade, Zoe Stark, one-on-one. Zoe Stark wins the match in 11 minutes and 5 seconds. Michael Bullock, you lead off on the main event of the evening.
Yeah, obviously, remember the ultimatum, Fletch, from last week with Mandy Rose. If Cora Jade took out Zoe Stark, then she would be the one to get the title shot. And if that's the case, if that was the case, hopefully that would finally shut the mouth of that Jezebel Cora Jade. But unfortunately,
she's got more than just. She's got a bigger problem now.
Oh yeah, she's got a bigger problem now, and the reason why she lost the match, Cora Jade, it's because of Roxanne Perez. Mm-hmm. Because remember, Fletch, Roxanne Perez, I mean, she wants Cora Jade at Heatwave, and we all remember last week when Cora Jade turned down the challenge. But this was Roxanne's way of saying, all right, I'm going to make sure I get this match by costing you your match with Zoe Stark, and that's what we saw here. So, and I can confirm it, guys, that we are going to get the match Tuesday night on Heatwave. It'll be Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez going at it, former best friends, and I'm going to tell you this right now, Fletch. This isn't going to be a match. This is going to be a fight here between two who used to be best friends and literally can't stand each other. I mean, you have Cora Jade, who said that Roxanne Perez was taking her spotlight, and Perez is saying she wants nothing to do with Cora Jade. So when you have two combustible elements going at it, this has got the potential to be a good match here. This isn't going to be a match. Oh no, this is going to be a fight, and I don't think these two care about winning or losing. I think they're just going to beat the holy hell out of each other, and and for Roxanne Perez, I think for Roxanne Perez, she doesn't care about winning or losing. She just wants to beat the you-know-what out of Cora Jade after all the despicable things she's done, and we'll see what happens here. But as far as this match goes, I'll give it about 3 stars. I mean, it was fine, but the thing is, like, the Roxanne Perez, I mean, the whole thing did take away from it a little bit, but it is what it is. So 3 stars for me. So Fletch, now Zoe Stark turns her attention to the NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose on Tuesday. But oh boy, Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade, all I can say is all hell is going to break loose. These two Hellcats are going to want to tear each other apart.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. It's gotten personal, it's gotten real, and it's gotten serious now. Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, and you know what? I'm going to steal an old line from the old In Your House. Best friends, better, good friends, better enemies. That's what it is. They were the best of friends. They were besties. They were at the time the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, and then she turned on Roxanne. Got turned on Cora because Cora thought that she got selfish, that she was trying to go for the NXT Women's title to try to destroy Toxic Attraction on her own, and that definitely spurred an anger in Cora that led to this heel turn. Then one of the most despicable things in wrestling we've ever seen, Cora Jade throwing her half of the NXT Women's Tag Team titles in the garbage. And that triggered an outrage, not only through the NXT universe, but through all of professional wrestling. IWC, CWC, the groups that
including the three of us.
I was about to say that, including the three of us, and of course, the groups that Derek Ferreira, leader of the Wrestling Forum, mentioned, the CWC, the IWC, and there's more other groups within that wrestling community that got triggered by what Cora Jade did. Now Cora trying to destroy trying to destroy Zoe Stark to open the opportunity for her to get an opportunity at the belt. Somebody forgot about someone else, and yeah, she came guns blazing with a kendo stick, or I think it was either a pipe or a baseball bat, and she went swinging for the fences. Unfortunately, Roxanne swung and missed, didn't get it, but she got what she wanted. A one-on-one with Cora Jade. That fight will finally happen. It's going down on next Tuesday night, a part of Heat Wave. What a matchup. Good main event. 3 stars. Anthony, it's yours.
Three and a quarter for this as well. Cora Jade was never going to win here, with Roxanne Perez waiting for her at Heatwave, but the two sold this as a battle of top contenders. Zoe Stark especially showed off how good she is, using new moves beyond what fans have seen before. As a preview for next week, Zoe Stark looked ready to challenge Mandy Rose more than anyone else has to date. While it may not be the right time, Stark has the story to fit the moment, and it would fully establish her as the top female talent in NXT. And Nikita Lyons told Zoe Stark to go out and pick up a big win to continue their momentum. Toxic Attraction promised to come back better from their loss in the vignette. Mandy Rose joined commentary for the main event. Stark completely flipped Jade on her head with a suplex for a near fall. Jade tried to hit sliced bread number 2, but slipped right into a super kick that got another near fall for Stark. Jade got a near fall off a hammerlock DDT, then sliced bread number 2 for another. Show ended with Perez running off Jade, while Stark laid out Rose with the belly-to-back GTS and stood tall with the women's title in hand. Booking 101. I think Mandy now goes over. I thought Zoe was going to be the one to do it, but I think they might have Mandy hold on to it a little bit longer, because I think Booking 101 is going to strike here, so, with Zoe standing tall. So that's just how I feel. So 3 and a quarter for this. So let's get to our overall review.
All right. I'm gonna say it. This was an all right show. 6 out of 10. Not perfect, not great. Could have been better, but I mean, it was all right. It was fine for what it was worth. Nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
Felt like a vintage NXT 2.0 show here. 6.5. I mean, we had some good matches here and there. We had like 3 good matches on this. So the other stuff was, we had some short matches here and some other nonsense. So 6.5 for this, but I got a good feeling next week, because we all know when they have these big special shows, whether it's a special show on the USA Network or a pay-per-view or what have you, they usually deliver. And I got a good feeling about next week's show. So give this about 6.5. So Bullock, take it home, and then we'll get ready for what ended up being another newsworthy AEW Dynamite tonight.
Yeah, I'll give it about maybe 6.5. I mean, it was not great. I mean, not perfect, but it certainly wasn't bad at all. I mean, there were some good things on on the show. I mean, obviously the Cora Jade and Zoe Stark, and of course some. I mean, you had some other good things. I mean, there are some other things that definitely could have been better, but you know what? It was. I thought it was fine for what it was. I mean, let's just say it was I. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So let's get into AEW Dynamite.
All right, we started it off with Darby Allen versus Brody King in a coffin match. Darby Allen wins the match in roughly 14 minutes. This was a great opener. This was wild and crazy, and it was amazing. The action was hard hitting, and it was an incredible, incredible story. However, the wrong man got over. I'm sorry. Brody King should have gone over in this match. I mean, I feel like Darby is great and he's amazing. And he could have easily come back from a loss like this. Brody King needed this match because of the fact that the House of Black needs moments. And yes, I kind of feel like they should have solidified them as a real threat because now that the trio's titles are on the line, this would be the perfect team to showcase in that trios tournament. And I feel like they missed an opportunity. Yes, it was a great match. Yes, Brody looked amazing in defeat, but he should have gone over in this match. I'm sorry. Good booking, great match, 3.5 stars. You could even make 3.75. They got the wrong person as the winner. I disagree with the outcome. Bad booking on that part. That's the only nitpick I got. Anthony, it's yours.
3.5 stars for this as well. This was certainly an energetic, chaotic, and hardcore way to kick off the show. From the very open, there was no rest period or halt to the action. It was chaotic and bloody, the perfect conclusion to a steadily intensifying rivalry between the combatants. The arrival of Sting and his face-to-face with Black was arguably the most intriguing moment of the match, but it was the apropos finish, with Allen beating his opponent in the same manner in which he had been defeated by the heavyweight, that wrapped this up perfectly. AEW absolutely leans on these hardcore matches way more than it should, watering them down to the point that they mean less and less the more we see them. But this was one of their better offerings, and an improvement over the barbed wire match we saw a few weeks back with Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. But Allen attacked prior to the bell, looking to negate the size and power advantage of his opponent. Allen delivered an Avalanche Code Red that drew holy bleep chants from the Minneapolis fans. Brody King missed a big splash through a table at ringside, and the commentary team questioned the decision, given he could have won the match by tossing Allen in the coffin. Buddy Matthews opening the coffin and Sting popping out before obliterating him. Sting tossed Malachi Black the baseball bat, but the heel refused to utilize it. So, this was definitely a 3.5 star match. A very good way to start the show off. And not much more to say here. So, Michael Bullock, a wild and crazy way to start off another newsworthy edition of Dynamite. Quake by the Lake.
Well, what about first off, Florio, what do you think about Fletch said? I mean, do you think?
I
Uh,
100% agree. I 100% agree. I mean, MF is absolutely right. I mean, what's the one thing I preach about? Pushing fresh talent. I mean, nothing against Darby, nothing against him at all. He's a stud. He's gonna be a future champion someday. But if you want to get the House of Black over as a dominant heel faction and one that we need to take seriously, Brody King should have won the match. MF is absolutely right. I'm glad he said it, because if he didn't say it, I would have said it and I would have gone off.
yeah, I'm with you guys on this one. I mean, it was a good match, no doubt about it, but the wrong person went over. I mean, if you were gonna push the House of Black as this totally badass faction, this badass heel faction, you need Brody King to go over. I mean, it's nothing against Darby Allin. I mean, he's a great talent, and he's going to be a future world champion someday. But if we're going to take the House of Black seriously, then you need to have Brody King go over. So it was a good match. It was a 3.5-star match, but I think AEW screwed the pooch on this one, and they should have had Brody King go over. So, but like I said, it's nothing against Darby Allin, but yeah, the wrong person to me went over on this one. So that's all I gotta say on it. So a 3.5-star match. I mean, good match, but wrong person went over. It's yours, Fletch.
All right, next up we had was a tag team tornado match, as it was Andrade El Idolo and Rush going up against Penta El Sciorro and Rey Fenix. It was Andrade El Idolo and Rush winning the match in 14 minutes. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
Unlike the last match, the right team won here. They got it. They made up for it here. I'm gonna give this 3 3/4 to 4 stars. I thought this was a smidgen better than the other match. Like the opener, this was non-stop action from start to finish. La Facción Ignobles has been red hot of late, and considering their role in round 1 of the Trios Championship tournament against the Young Bucks and the mystery partner, which I can confirm is not going to be Hangman Adam Page. I got a theory as to who I think it could be. It was the right call to heat them up with the win here. Not only that, but it played to the established storyline, and that the mask again proved the babyface's weakness. Good stuff that furthered the story, provided some strong in-ring action, and heated up the heels. And Excalibur put over Penta El Zero Miedo, returning to his Lucha Libre background specifically for this match against La Facción Ignobles after months as Penta Oscuro. Rey Fenix launched himself off his brother's shoulders and splashed Rush. El Idolo inadvertently rocked his partner with a super kick. All 4 competitors unleashed their finishers in a sequence that ended with a quadruple down. The heels tied Penta's mask to the ropes, and with the outcome hanging in the balance, he unmasked himself to save his brother and partner. So this was a fantastic match. 3 3/4 to 4. They made up for the bad call on the first match. They got the outcome right. Right team won. And next week, we kick off the Trios Championship Tournament with Andrade El Idolo, Rush, and Rush's brother, Dragon Lee. And they're going to be squaring off against the Young Bucks and their mystery partner, who, as we all know, is not going to be Hangman Adam Page. I got a feeling as to who I think it could be. I think we might be getting the return of the cleaner, gentlemen.
Omega?
Omega.
All right.
So with that being, I believe, I think he's due back anytime. And since Hangman turned him down, well, he didn't flat out refuse him. He politely declined. That's what he did. He politely declined, and because he wants to be there for the Dark Order. So that's why I think it's going to be Omega. And if it's Omega, look out. Business is going to damn sure pick up. So that's all there is to say on that. So 3 3/4, teetering on 4. One of the fights of the night, maybe second best fight of the night for this. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, unlike the first match, they got the outcome right on this one. The right team most certainly, they certainly most got the right team on this one.
Yeah, they got the right team on this one this time. 3 3/4 to 4. I mean, like the last one, the right team went over on this one. I mean, this was an awesome match here, and obviously you want to push Andrade El Idolo and his partner as a dominant tag team here. And yeah, I mean, during the match, I mean, Penta basically, after his mask got tied up, I mean, he unmasked himself in order to get himself free to save his partner, and then the manager tried to give him a new mask, but Andrade El Idolo intercepted it and threw it into the crowd. And I don't know, Fletch. I mean, does that count as a little bit of disrespect for that mask?
Well, the way I feel about it is that, what Andrade did was pretty messed up, and I get it, but in a way, you know, to unmask yourself, to do it that way, to save a partner, that is definitely a lot of heroism, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely, I give a lot of credit and a lot of respect to. But at the end, when that blew up in his face like that, I can't really say that I'm too angry about it. But it is what it is. So yeah.
So it's like part angry and part okay with it, right, Fletch? Sort of like 50-50, but yeah. I mean, I have no problem with it either. So yeah, and I'm telling you, I mean, if Florio's theory comes true and we get the cleaner that joins uh the Young Bucks, oh boy, like you said, Florio, business is gonna pick up. Oh, we'll find out come next week. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
All right. With that said, we'll move right on along. Next up, we have was Luchasaurus versus Anthony Henry. Luchasaurus wins the match in 40 seconds. We're moving on along. Then we had a lot of promo stuff after that. The next actual legitimate match was Ricky Starks versus Aaron Solo. Ricky Starks wins the match in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It was more of a showcase fight for Ricky Starks. There's really not much for us to add on that one. Then we had TBS title on the line. Jay Cargill versus Madison Rain. Jay Cargill wins the match. We don't have an official time. It looks like it was a pretty short match. Well, actually, there was a picture-in-picture break along the way, so I'd probably say this was about maybe 5-6 minutes more than anything else. Um, it was all right. I mean, Cargill gets another big victory here, keeps her undefeated and still the dominating champion. Madison Rain looked very good in defeat here, but it looks like they are setting up Athena as the next challenger for the TBS title, and this might be the one to end the reign of Jade Cargill. I feel like Athena is being groomed to be the one. And I do believe that All Out or All In, whenever that happens, I think it's Labor Day weekend. I think we're going to see an unprecedented crowning of a new TBS champion. So, Anthony Florio, it is yours. I'll give this about maybe 2.5 stars. It was all right. I'm not going to say it was anything, there wasn't anything amazing about the match.
All right. Yep, I'm here. I'm here.
You're good. You're
So,
good. Go ahead.
all right. Um, Tried to get the time of the fall. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have it. So, but I am gonna give it 2 stars for the effort. Um, it was a surprisingly one-sided match. Madison Rain got some offense in, especially early and late, but Jay Cargill controlled the match otherwise and scored a decisive win. Greater than anything that happened in the ring was both the announcement that Chris Statlander is out injured again and the reemergence of Athena as the threat to Jade Cargill's TBS championship. While the injury suffered by Chris Statlander was not disclosed, it does conveniently allow Athena to slide into that top contender spot for a shot at Cargill, while Toni Storm jumps to the top of the AEW women's title picture. And Athena jumped the guardrail and attacked Cargill after the match, rekindling a rivalry that kind of fell off a few weeks back. And then backstage, Toni Storm expressed her intention to continue building momentum and setting up a match with women's world champion Thunder Rosa in the near future. I could easily see both of these matches happening at All Out, and yes, MF, you are correct on the date of it. It's only going to be the most loaded Labor Day weekend we've ever had, guys. I mean, because that's when college football comes back. We got Clash at the Castle on the 3rd, and that's just September 3rd. The next night, you have a Sunday night college football game. I believe it's Florida State against LSU, Brian Kelly's debut, and we also have the all-out pay-per-view. So yeah, it's gonna be an amazing weekend, and I believe both of these matches are going to be on that card. I think it will be Athena versus Jade Cargill for the TBS Championship. Athena is gonna win it. We've been preaching about it. I know I've been preaching about it, and I'm certainly not going back on that now. And then it's very likely that we're probably gonna get Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's Championship. And I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I think Toni Storm's gonna win the belt. I got this feeling. So we're gonna have to wait and see on that. But for right now, this is going to. I'm gonna give this like 2 stars for the effort, like I said. So Madison was not the legitimate threat that I thought she was gonna be. I mean, I thought she was gonna give Jade one hell of a try. She had her moments, but Jade was just too much. So much for the former 5-time Impact Knockout champion and 3-time co-holder of the Knockouts tag team titles, being the biggest threat to date. So 2 stars. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, so much. Florio, so much for Madison Rayne being a big threat to Jade Cargill's reign and TBS title. I mean, I'm gonna say, I'll even take it a step further. I mean, Jade Cargill. I mean, treat her like Madison Rayne was an enhancement talent. I mean, that's the way it felt. I mean, she was just flat out dominant, and Madison Rayne just literally had no answer for Jade Cargill. And I'll even make a bold statement, and I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble, but until Jade Cargill has that undefeated streak broken and loses that title, which I think, and I'm with you guys on this one, I think she's going to lose it to Athena at All Out. But until that happens, Jade Cargill right now, and I don't give a damn what anybody says, she is the most dominant female in professional wrestling right now. I mean, you take a look at the record now. She's 36-0 since she made her debut. I mean, look at all the names she has beaten since she joined AEW. I mean, including Anna Jay. I mean, so yeah, so until she loses that title and the streak is broken, which I think is going to be at All Out, she is the most dominant woman right now in professional wrestling. That's just my personal opinion. So 2 stars for the effort. It's your Sledge.
Yeah, so we now move on to the main event, the AEW the interim world title on the line. Jon Moxley versus Chris Jericho. Jon Moxley wins the match. 22 minutes, 35 seconds. After the match, all hell breaks loose. The Blackpool Combat Club and the Jericho Appreciation Society, they all show up. A big brawl breaks out, but then an equalizer comes out. The real AEW World Champion CM Punk is back, makes his return, and the lasting image we had, CM Punk and Jon Moxley face to face, eye to eye, All Out. We just found our main event. Oh my, Anthony Florio. This one's being talked about in the water coolers, the return of CM Punk, and now we can finally do it. Punk versus Moxley for the undisputed All Elite Wrestling World Championship at All Out in Chicago, Labor Day weekend.
There isn't anything left to say here. I mean, wow. Um, I will give this 4.5 stars for the effort. This was the fight of the night. The match was well wrestled, a battle between two grizzled veterans who could have easily gone the hardcore route, but instead had a more traditional match that only slightly went off the rails with the interference from Sammy Guevara close to the end. Moxley going over felt like a foregone conclusion, but the layout of the match allowed for a few strong false finishes, particularly the Judas Effect spot. The post-match was what will have everyone talking, with AEW appearing poised to pull the proverbial trigger on CM Punk versus Jon Moxley for the undisputed AEW World Heavyweight Championship. It is a bona fide blockbuster, a legitimate main event that the company can and should build all out around. The ending of tonight's show suggests that is exactly where things are going. Where that leaves Chris Jericho in time for the biggest show of the year is anyone's guess, but I believe a possible showdown with Claudio Castagnoli should not be ruled out. And, I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, the action intensified with every passing moment as fans chanted "Fight Forever," the result of the drama and excitement surrounding Moxley kicking out of the Judas Effect. The champion applied the Bulldog choke, but the challenger escaped and applied the Lion Tamer. Jericho bled, his own face busted open after contacting the exposed buckle. Moxley took advantage, escaping the submission, tapping the challenger out with the Bulldog choke to win. And Moxley engaged Jericho in an exchange of chops, snapmared him over, and flipped him off in defiance of the challenger. Jericho ripped the earring out of the champ's ear. And Jim Ross was not having it when it comes to that interim stuff. He called BS on that interim portion of the championship designation. Moxley applied a crossface a la former Jericho rival Chris Benoit. The challenge answered with the walls of Jericho. Moxley delivered a double axe handle from the top rope to the floor, then pounded away at the face of his opponent. Frustrated, Jericho shouted, "Stay down." Moxley kicked out of the Judas Effect, making him the first to do so, according to JR on commentary. Sammy Guevara tossed Floyd the wall back to Jericho. He used it to his advantage for a near fall. And the pop for CM Punk was thunderous. And the crowd sang along to Cola Personality to close the show. And I don't think there is any question about this. It will be CM Punk versus Jon Moxley for the undisputed AEW World Heavyweight Championship. There's your main event for All Out. And oh, by the way, I got CM Punk going over. So, there isn't much more to say here. We got a legitimate match of the year contender for sure. So with that, 4.5 stars. Michael Bullock, how do you follow all that? Amazing match. As if the match wasn't amazing enough. Then we get CM Punk returning out of nowhere. Wow.
Yeah, this was crazy. I mean, like you said, 4.5 stars. I mean, definitely the fight of the night. I mean, great work by both men. I mean, they could basically fight forever. And yeah, I mean, Chris Jericho pulling the earring out of Jon Moxley's ear. I mean, what does that remind you of, guys? To me, it reminds me of
WrestleMania. I know where you're going. WrestleMania 35, when Triple H pulled Dave Bautista's nose ring out of his nose.
Or
yeah, that's
when Randy Orton tried to rip the ear off of Jeff Hardy.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, that's what it reminded me of when that happened. And yeah, Jon Moxley was bleeding from the ear with that, and it wasn't long before Jericho started bleeding too. So this was a hard-hitting match between these two, and eventually, like you said, Moxley went over, and you had chaos with the Blackpool Combat Club and the Jericho Appreciation Society, and then you get the return of CM Punk. I mean, that was freaking awesome, and basically taking out every single member of the Jericho Appreciation Society, including Chris Jericho himself, because let's not forget, guys. There's a lot of history with Jericho and CM Punk. It goes back to their days of WWE, and that was leading up to their match at WrestleMania 28. So there's some bad blood with these two. So, and obviously, this is setting up for, like you said, the all-out John Moxley and CM Punk for the undisputed AEW World Title. And I got CM Punk going over on this one. So yeah, so 4.5 stars. Fight of the night. Fletch, it's yours.
All right. And yeah, um, 4.5 stars, incredible main event. Really nothing more to add. So Michael Bullock, front and center, you lead off on the overall review.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this about I'm actually gonna give this about 7.5 to maybe 8 out of 10, even though maybe I'm leaning a little bit more towards 7.5, but that's just where I go with it. I mean, obviously the fight of the night with Jericho and Moxley. I mean, you had some other good matches. You had some matches that I thought that were short and that definitely could have been better, but I'll just say it like this: AEW was definitely better than NXT 2.0. So it's your Fletch.
I'll go 7.5. And the only reason why I'm going 7.5 is because we had three damn good matches. You're absolutely right, Michael Bullock. It was actually better in certain areas. The main event was absolutely phenomenal. There's really nothing more to add about that. The coffin match was really good. And also, I believe the tag team match was all right. But there was some matches that were kind of throwaways. The TNT title felt like a throwaway. The Luchasaurus fight was a throwaway, and the final match, and the other match that was, and the other fight, which was, I want to say the Anthony Ogogo versus absolute Ricky Starks. That fight was kind of a throwaway for me. You had three throwaway fights. You had three solid matches, but the main event was the reason why the rating is so high up, and especially with the return of CM Punk at the end. Yeah, no, 7.5 for me. Florio, you got the final say tonight.
The only reason why I would give it 8 out of 10 is because of the surprise factor. Did any of us really expect CM Punk to come back tonight? I didn't. I didn't see it
Actually,
coming.
no, there wasn't even anything on the dirt sheet that said that Punk was coming back. So yeah,
And that's why I'm actually going to bump it to 8 because of that surprise factor. I'm with you on the 7.5, but I'm adding a bonus half point to it to make it 8 because of the surprise return of CM Punk that none of us saw coming. It was like a Randy Orton RKO. It was out of nowhere, and because I sure as hell when I woke up this morning, I didn't think CM Punk was going to be on his way back. I didn't because we didn't hear any dirt sheets or anything like that, and I had my doubts, but now that they pulled the trigger and they surprised us with his return tonight, because of that unpredictability and surprise factor, that's why I go from 7.5 to 8 because of that. Main event fight of the night, no doubt about it. Second best fight was that tornado tag with the Luchas and Andrade and Roosh, rounding out the top three. The opener, the coffin match with Darby and Brody. So those three matches were good. The women, Jay Cargill, Madison Rain, good but not great. Solid, not overly spectacular, I should say. And then we had a couple of showcase delicious squashes. So and a lot of promo stuff, but 7.5 to 8. But it's mainly 8 because of that surprise factor. So not much more to say. So Quake by the Lake. Oh yeah, Punk came out. There was definitely an earthquake in the Target Center because that crowd was going so damn nuts that the roof damn near came off it, and you could feel the tremors shaking in the Target Center. So there isn't much more to say. 8 for me. So MF, I believe I'm gonna set the table for what should be a
it's a light docket. It's a
not
light docket.
not one of our more exciting dockets, to be honest with you.
Mm-mm.
because we are in the slow time period right now. We don't have much exciting content to share with you.
But we do got a couple of episodes left. We're almost there. Unfortunately, yeah. But I will say this weekend is preseason football. That only means one thing. We're getting closer and closer and closer to actual real football. We're about a month away
It
now.
shows.
And not only that, but we also got pennant races starting to heat up a little bit. So we got some interesting stuff in baseball going on right now. So yeah, like I said, just bear with us, guys. It's going to be a little bit of the next couple of episodes for TXN Sports World. Probably not the best, but
No, no.
Anthony will set us up.
Yeah. I don't really know about the 18th. Next Thursday, the 18th. I really don't know if there's even going to be a show because of the slow business right now. But tomorrow, all it really is Deebo Samuel staying with the San Francisco 49ers, Cabo Caco staying with the New York Rangers. Of course, great news from Michael Bullock's Boston Bruins, David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron coming back. So we'll address those. We got those. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, the only other thing I could think of other than those stories would be MF. I'll have you close it out. I'll have you main event the show with your Big Three basketball report, and you're gonna share with us the Final Four.
Yeah, not only that, but I'll also talk about this. Jacob Truba, the 28th captain of the New York Rangers.
We'll throw that in with the Cabo Caco.
We'll throw that in with the Cabo Caco. Yeah, and if there is any other report or any other news, I might have something for myself because I know all you soccer nuts out there. There was an All-Star game tonight. We'll talk about it. MLS versus Malik XX, which is the Mexican Soccer League. So they had their game that actually just went down just a few minutes ago. The game just ended in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'll give you a quick thought on it. Just by me alone. So that'll be that MLS All-Star game. Of course, in baseball, there was a little bit of a buddy bowl. Bullock's Red Sox versus my Atlanta Braves, and the Bravos swept 2-0. They won both games. Kaiser Butler's been giving me a whole bunch of junk. Yeah, well, let's just say bust out the broomsticks and I'll sweep you pretty little tail. So nothing more to say on that.
Yep. So Deebo Samuel staying with the Niners, Cabo Caco staying with the Rangers, Jacob Truba, the new captain of the Rangers, David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron coming back to the Boston Bruins. MF, I'll let you talk about the MLS All-Star game, and then the main event will be your Big Three. Your Big Three will main event it. Your regular season finale recapping. You're going to recap the final games of the regular season and set the table for the semifinal matchups that go down this weekend in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be all for tomorrow night. Not all that exciting, I know. The 18th, I don't know. We just might take that week off. But the 25th, though. The 25th. Oh, yes. MF will have his final Big Three basketball recap. If we don't have a show next week, what will happen is MF will recap the semifinal games and the Big Three championship game. He'll get into all that on the 25th. And after that, it'll be our preview of both the 2022 college football season and the 2022 NFL season. That's on the 25th. And then the following week, September 1st, mark it down. If you haven't already, mark it down. September 1st. September 1st, a Thursday night. It will be the season premiere and for the first time ever, under our brand new banner, TXN Sports World, College Football Thursday. And then Saturday, September 10th, will be TXN Sports World, NFL Saturday. So get ready. The big stuff, the good stuff's coming. So get ready. So not all that exciting tomorrow, but we'll address it all. Won't be too long a show, but 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night, Tone 25, and we'll see about the 18th. But the other stuff is most assuredly happening. So not much more to say. MF, wrap it up.
Yeah, we're all right. So we are done for tonight. Like Anthony said, we're setting up for tomorrow's show, and then after that, it's gonna be Cerebral Smack Talk. So we'll get into that when we do the highlights tomorrow. For Anthony Floyer, for Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow.